All right, now this next conversation is coming off as a question. So I'm throwing it out to you and also to this beautiful lady sitting beside me. Yes, and Wura, and of course our fellow audience, what are the things that you couldn't do last year that you could do now? Give it a hard. Huh? Wura just said pollute the air. Wow.
No, that scrap that. That was that was a joke. What I could not do last year that I am able to do now. Yes. So a quick one. I've always told people I didn't know how to fry plantain and make toast bread, and they're like, of all the meals, like
Plantain.
toast bread and
I don't know about the toast bread.
plantain, like it's quite easy
I'm
and
happy for
simple,
you.
but guess who is able to fry plantain and make toast bread now?
Wura.
Of course.
I'm really happy for Wura because when Wura fries plantain, or if she fry plantain for you, then the plantain
Because
is
you
never
had
the
the
same.
privilege to eat my plantain does not mean you'd come here and embarrass me like that.
No, it's not an embarrassment. We're asking.
You know what?
Things that you could
That's
not
the
do
last
last year.
plantain you get from me.
That's not true. Wura is so generous. She cannot, even her food, she shares with anybody and everybody. So she doesn't know how to. So all this what you're saying, ma'am.
2021 in my resolution,
You
I'm
don't
not
mean
going to
it.
be generous again.
So because of what I said, you want to change that aspect of
New
you.
year, new me.
New year, new you. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the only thing that you've been able to?
Well, that I can figure out now. I think that's it. But let's see how 2021 goes. It just started.
For me, I would say, okay, maybe because we are limiting it to things you couldn't do last year. Last year was just how many days ago?
Well,
Do you
that's
get?
true.
I mean, but okay, if we are to say things that you couldn't do, like maybe 2 years ago, I would definitely say makeup. Right? If I do my makeup for you, you ask me if it is carpenter
There's been an improvement.
that did it.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Just the same way I'm proud of you now that you can't fry plantain. I mean,
Just in case you've tuned in onto your coffee and you saw some kind of eyebrow on Kemi, maybe like last year, right? You can. I'm sure people can actually tell the difference when you draw your eyebrow and when the makeup artist.
no, but
is
actually
available.
now
But now-
I actually do it better. In fact, I feel like I do it better for myself. Of course, our makeup artist is very efficient. She knows what she's doing. But you know, there are some times that you just want to do it by yourself. Maybe because you have a certain way you want it to come out. And then there's something I still struggle with though. So I think I know how to draw this this part of my eyebrow.
You have starting, but you don't have finish it.
But you see this angle here, the one here, the left. Nah.
The truth is, with your eyebrows, you cannot have the both of
same,
them perfect. One must always have
Comma.
issues. Exactly. And for some people, they do not know how to use their left hand to draw.
I can't do
Exactly.
that.
So, and if you're going to use your right hand and extending it, you just might not get it as perfectly as you would for this. So you can never have, if you speak with any professional makeup artist, you can never have two eyebrows equal and like looking perfect. One must have a little bit of comma.
By the way, Wura is a makeup artist too.
I am not, please.
Oh, please.
Don't,
Why are you
don't
trying to
even
be
push that
modest?
business on my neck right
Why
now.
are you trying to? I'm giving you business ideas. Why are you trying to be
No,
modest?
I don't think I want to venture into that industry. It can be stressful.
But you can make up.
Well, yeah, for the fun of it, I can.
But anyway, so okay, aside the makeup for me, I would say yes.
You see that you have to sit down to think about this
Yes,
question.
I know one very vital one. I could not face the camera.
Interesting. And look at you. This is what you do now every day.
The camera. Even what am I even saying? Even last year, early last year,
Are you
I was still
serious?
like, okay, like, right. It was, I don't know.
So how did you feel like when it was your first time coming right on a live show facing the camera?
I was legit looking at my heart like this, and it was looking back at me. Like, okay, what's going on here? And you know, I started to fidget. My hands were all watching and all of that. And
it happens.
I was so scared, even down to facing a large crowd. I couldn't do that. What I mean,
you know, we still have some people that can communicate, like talk very well, interact with people. But once you bring a camera right in front of them, even the phone camera, they can't stand it.
And while there are some people that they are comfortable with the camera, it's just me and the camera after all, probably my co-presenter, put them in front of or in a room filled with people.
They just might not be able to express as much.
But anyways, these are things that we could not do last year, and lo and behold, we are better at it this year, and we hope to improve. I'm very sure I give Wura to June. By June, when Wura, in fact, she can fry plantain with her eyes closed, right?
It's hyping that killed 2020. And that is what you're doing now.
No, now.
Don't hype me, please. Don't worry. I mean, it's not every time you would have your good times. There are times whereby it's even the days where you have high hopes and expectations. That's when it goes really bad. But you know, definitely the conversation won't be complete if we do not go into WhatsApp comments to see what people have to say about what they could do last year and what they could not do last year and they're able to do this year. And so this person, this is Afiz from Lagos, and Afiz says, I can afford a car. By this time last year, I was still owing bank, but now I can afford a car. Thank goodness. Congratulations to you, Afiz. I mean, it's not easy. You hear people say things like, oh, so car is luxury. For some people, it is luxury.
It is luxury, actually.
It's not just about getting the car, but you having the facility and money to even maintain it. Because you could own a car, and if you're not able to maintain it and it spoils, I mean, you're back to zero. Yeah. So, yes, congratulations to Afiz. He said this time last year he could not afford a car, but now he can. And congratulations to you.
All right, and this next one is from Muyiwa, all the way from Kwara State. And Muyiwa is saying, stop a random girl and tell her she looks pretty. Interesting. So, I don't know. I've had a few friends that could not do this. Like, you really want to tell this person that, wow, you look beautiful, or I like you or something, but you don't just have the courage. And honestly, that thing takes courage because you do not know the feedback or the response that you might get from said person. And you also do not know the mood of this person. Sometimes, even if it's a good compliment, some people still react negatively because of their mood. So a lot of things are going on in your head when you want to approach this person and you're asking yourself, should I? No, I can't. No.
You know, negative feedback sometimes things that you do not even want to have at all. And I remember talking to someone and I told the person that when it has to do with networking and connecting with people, you should get to a point where you can accept no for an answer. You won't get yeses every time. You won't get the friendly expression every time. Yeah. There are times whereby you would meet people who are very nasty and will talk to you in a very rude way. And it still doesn't stop you from trying to, you know, talk to people. Yeah. But I understand where Muyiwa is coming from because it actually takes a lot of courage for you to approach a random person and try to start a conversation with the person, especially when you do not know how the conversation would go or you don't know the kind of person you are approaching. But the major thing is try and be nice with your approach and don't be rude.
And also, some people don't have manner of approach.
And even when you try and then you're turned down or
don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad about it. Just move on. I mean, just move. You would see someone who would appreciate the effort of you even trying to start a conversation in the first place. But I'm happy for you that as a last year, you could not walk up to any random girl, but now you can. Kudos. We just might come for your wedding and have it on Wedding Tales right on High Impact Television.
Yes.
But moving on to the next comment, and this is coming from God's Time, and she says, eat 3 cups of garri. Whoa. Okay. Interesting. 3 cups of garri. Okay, God's time. We need to have a conversation. Like if it's possible for us to meet and have a conversation, let's talk about this.
Okay, so when she says 3 cups of Gary, anyway, she says 8. That's like eba, right?
It could be
3 cups.
We have people whose favorite food is actually Gary. That's the cassava.
Is God's time? I would like to know if God's time is a lady or if God's time is.
Well, however, if you can have this conversation with us, please do.
Oh, yes.
Our social media page is the best place for you to, let's talk about this. Let's find out, what your taste is when it has to do with food, because it seems like God's time actually enjoys Gary a lot. Moving on to the next one.
And this one is from Dozie, all the way from Lagos. I can build bigger and better food processing machines. Wow. So now it says bigger. Mm-hmm. That means he has been in the business of, building machines and all of that, but now he can build a bigger one. So for me, I feel like...
This has to be an engineer.
Yeah. I feel like one of the benefits of you trying things and being consistent is the fact that it opens you to things you're even capable of doing that you thought you were not capable of doing
before.
Or it gives you new insights to things, which is why we often say on Tea or Coffee, consistency is key in whatever it is that you are doing. I mean, consistency brings consistent results. If you're consistent about a particular thing, you would see the result and you would improve over time. So for me, I feel like this is a major aspect of this conversation that we're having, and the benefits of you doing things, trying. Just imagine if I did not try. Like, okay, the very first time I came on air, because I was too shy, and I definitely, a lot of thoughts ran through my mind that, what do you think the viewers said about me? Why was I, and then I just said to myself that, I will not. Of course, presenting can be really, really fun, but we also would agree that yeah. But then again, when you, I just believe when you do something over time, you improve, you get better. And no matter what someone tells you that, you're not good enough and all of that, trust me, when you believe in yourself, and you're consistent, and definitely you're determined, you would improve. And things will get better. This is why I'm very, very happy for Dozie.
This is a major achievement.
Like, it's a big achievement for him.
Imagine if we have more people being able to build a food processing machine. I mean, it's not everything we have to import from other countries down to this place. There are things we can actually have made right in our own very country.
Which is why I like our segment, Life Hacks. It teaches us how to use our hands to do creative things.
And your craft,
just be creative with your hands and all of that. And you will see how far you can go and what those beautiful hands can actually create.
Let's see what Molade has to say. And she says, running a business is what I can do because my mind hindered me, but now I can run a business smoothly. True, not everyone would actually end up an entrepreneur. Yeah. And it's not everyone that knows how to handle or run businesses, because at that point, it's more like you are your own boss. You are your own CEO. And however your business turns out, it's on you.
Yeah.
Whatever, you have people working. In fact, I don't think there's any other fear I usually have than me getting to the point where people would depend on me for them to earn a living. And knowing that these people depending on me have dependents also. And I can't afford to feel like it's a big fear on my part. So I think I can relate with what Molade is saying. Running a business, or you thinking about starting a business in first place, can be a big deal. Even when you have the capital, you have the funds, you have everything you need to start. There's just this fear of how would it go? Yeah. What's the progress going to be like? At what point? What if I make mistakes? What if things don't go the way I planned it? What exactly would I do? Who do I run to? So yes, it can, and that's why you see some people who will tell you they'll prefer to have a business as their side hustle and not the major thing they are doing, so that if something goes wrong, they have something to fall back to, to get capitals, at least to help the people they've employed to make that business run.
I really appreciate people that put in a lot of effort to, employ other people. They are not dependent on anybody, but they're dependent on the people that are working for them. So together they can achieve good results. Now, if Molade decided not to, it's to a large extent, she might not have gotten to the position she has gotten to. At times, like I said earlier, when you do some certain things that or when you try, let me use the word, when you try new things, you would realize that you are capable of doing more things. You are capable of doing many things. You're capable of so much more. It's just because you have refused to get out of your comfort zone or even reflect on your person. What are the things I'm good at doing? What are the things I feel like I'm scared to do? Yes, I'm scared to do it, but what do I stand to lose? Do you understand? So some things you just want to try it, and then all of a sudden you see that, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting to be this good, and then you are.
Congratulations to Molade, and wish you all of the best in your business.
Okay, and Moya all the way from Lagos is saying, talking back to my father, calmly though, like he can say something and we will rub minds together instead of then that I'll just leave him to it. I can explain myself fully. So I can totally relate with Moyo. Then it can be really, really hard. I mean, for a lot of us, it can be very hard talking back to our father, and largely because of how we're brought up. We feel like, the elderly ones are always right and all of that. But at times, you just need to say your mind. If you do not, I feel like a lot of us, we assume that, if I tell daddy this, if I tell mommy this is what she will say. She will not let me, they will not. Assumption, But you are not sure. You will not know until you fully try. There are some conversations that a lot of us even try to avoid, discussing with our parents just because we think they might not approve of some certain things, or they will just shun us or something like that because of, they are a bigger authority or something on that matter. However, I just believe that having that conversation with your parent, or having some certain conversation, having to walk up, of course, like, what's her name? Moyo has stated, you should do it calmly. You do not want to go all out, being rude and all of that, just because you're trying to talk to your father or someone the courage to walk up to him to say what's on your mind. You need to also be very respectful. However, it doesn't change the fact that you should still state your mind. Let them know how you feel about some certain things. Don't always bottle everything in just because you do not want them to see that part. Some parents don't even know their children, like, in total. And when I say in total, they don't know them completely. They just know that, okay, his name is Moyo. He's this person and this person. He likes reading, he likes this, and that is it. You really do not know your child, like, from within. And it's very important that, parents also, they should be able to bring themselves down a bit to relate with their children, to make the conversations even much more related. Because if you put up a shell, a wall, between you and your children, you would limit a whole lot. Limitations will set in, and we really do not want that. So I'm really, really happy for her that she has been able to summon courage to always walk up to her father, to hold conversations with her father. I mean, trust me, that is one big difference. And I'm very sure this will go a long way in building their relationship even better.
It's actually funny that parents training a child while the child is growing up, there are certain restrictions you put in place. There are certain approaches that you make, and it's actually the wrong way. But when these kids or when these children grow up, you expect, like, I don't know,
the same.
You expect this cordial relationship between the both of you, and this has never been the same. So sometimes it is even weird for me, even till now. There are some kind of conversations I really can't have with my dad because I just feel it's weird for me to sit down and have that kind of... I can have it with my mom because it's been something we talk about.
Depends on
but
the
with my dad,
too.
there's that restriction, but he expects me to talk to him about everything and anything. And it gets to a point where you're like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Oh, what? And I'm like... if I told you this 5 years ago, would you have accepted it the way you're accepting it now?
That was 5 years ago. You were much younger. But then again, we often say that when a child is growing up,
even if I had that conversation 5 years ago with him, right? He probably would have been able to put me through. Do you understand? And even when it's happening now, I still can relate and talk to him about it. But if all along I am used to you shutting me up or shutting me down, or whenever I have an opinion or I have something to talk about, you shove it off.
Just say you're still a child.
Exactly. So growing up, you expecting that cordial relationship, I'm like, we never had this. So why now? So it still puts you in that weird space. So that's why I tell parents that it's not, parenting is not easy.
Yeah.
Really, if we're going to look at it. And if you are going to be, as a parent, I feel like it's not just for you to be available in your child's life. You should be present in your child's life. There are two different things. You being available and you being present are two different things. Available, you can give the child anything and everything they ask for. You can always get them whatever they need on the go. But you being present is you being able to have a conversation with your child. I mean, I enjoy it when I see it on social media, how some parents relate with their children, to the point that they even tend to post it on social media. Like, oh, see my dad. It's very interesting when some people think your dad is actually your boyfriend.
Your brother or your boyfriend.
Or your brother, exactly. Like that kind of relationship actually helps growing up. And even when they are grown, it doesn't become anything, it doesn't become weird for them to have some kind of conversations with you.
Which is
as
why
a parent.
it's very important that from a tender age, build that relationship.
Yes.
Don't put up a wall that your child finds it extremely difficult to even walk up to you to tell you something very, very pressing, and then they can't even tell you, and then they're telling an outsider. And do not forget that a child's first best friend is their parents, you know. But however,
yes, but let's take this from Eyitemi. Eyitemi is from Lagos, and she's saying, spend money without thinking of going broke. Not anyhow kind of spending, but on things that I really need or things that matter, without having to do mental gymnastics and calculate how long I'll drink Gary for. Okay, so first of all, Eyitemi, I don't know why people have the mindset that you drinking Gary indicates poverty. I mean, sometimes it's just, you just have that feeling of wanting to drink Gary. It really doesn't indicate that you're suffering or something is going wrong with your finances. So yes, congratulations to Eyitemi. You know, sometimes you just sit down and you tell yourself, you know what, this life, I really can't kill myself. I don't know if you saw that thing on social media where there was a guy who was gallantly walking to the ATM to withdraw his last 1,000 naira in the account. And guess what he was going to use it to do? To take catfish pepper soup and a drink. And this guy didn't have transport home.
Wow.
So when he's done, he will trek home.
Wow.
But at least he got the best of his money and he enjoyed himself. He
definitely have the strength to also trek.
So I think that's what Eyitemi is also saying. This time last year, she probably would have to put in a lot of thought and calculations into spending on herself or spending money on some certain things. But now she can easily do that, and which is good. Have a me time this year and take yourself out. Give yourself that special treat that you deserve.
Okay, and Jide from Ogun State is saying, drive myself around in my car and run 5 businesses together. Wow. Okay, Jide must be a very multi-talented person and somebody who can multitask at the same time, because running 5 businesses all together at the same time, that's like a lot. I mean, I'm happy for Jide really, because I believe he's been able to improve himself, and he's doing this because he probably can run 5 businesses.
That's a Superman.
If that's a Superman, honestly, but if you're the type that you can't do it, because honestly, I do not believe that your hikes will be everywhere. Even if you have people, you know, that are working for you in these places and you're just collecting the money, you still need to monitor, you know, your businesses. But he's coming out to say that now he can run 5 businesses all together. And now he's even driving his own car and can drive his own car. kudos to Jide. One thing I know I really want to learn this year is how to drive a car. How will you teach me?
What's your money?
Right.
Okay.
Can I even do it as a colleague?
My dear, I can't. But let's take this one from Koinsola Port Harcourt, and she says, forgive people more. I've learned that disappointment from people is not always because they want to. Sometimes it can't be helped. So instead of being angry and focusing on how I feel, I set aside my feelings and try to understand why this person did what they did. This is quite interesting, and I hope Koinsola keeps up the spirit, because forgiveness can also be difficult, especially when this other party hurts you badly, and it's just something that keeps bringing back hurtful memories to you. But however, you putting yourself in that situation not to just think about the hurt you're feeling, but also thinking about what could have made this other party do what they have to do. And you putting all of this in your thinking process and try to let it go and forgive is actually a gift. I think forgiveness is a gift. Because if it's not easy for quite a number of persons, but if you are that kind of person that you can easily forgive and let go of things, I think you have a beautiful gift.
Some develop it.
Well, yes.
But it's like you said, I don't think it can be as much as if it's natural to you. Like, you just, no matter what it is, you still see people, like,
even when they take advantage of you,
they just let it go. Well, there are some people, if you offend them, no matter how small the offense is, they will hold it against you forever. And it's actually, it's difficult, really, at times to reach that state of forgiveness, most especially if what the person has done to you has really hurt you.
You know, sometimes you'd actually do yourself more harm than good.
Yeah, definitely. You would do yourself more harm than good. But some people would rather not forgive you than forgive you, because they feel like they'll be doing you more. Some people do not understand these things, actually. They feel like they'll be doing you more good if they forgive you, and they will be the one hurting themselves. However, forgiveness, like we talked about, is very, very key. It's vital. In this life, we've said it, a lot of people would step on your toes. And every time, if you always have to hold it in, you would end up hurting yourself. And even the person you're even, holding the grudge against or trying not to forgive does not even know that you're holding a grudge against them. So please, forgiveness is very, very key. Even if it is not a gift that we have, well, to some of us, it's something we can learn, it's something we can develop over time. And trust me, you will do yourself a whole lot, and for your own peace and sanity, it's very good. And also, Temitope from Kwara is also saying the same thing. Forgiveness, letting go,
and acceptance.
All of these things are very, very important.
Okay. Samuel Toba, he says, I hadn't driven more than 50 kilometers total till last year. This year, I've done about 1,500 kilometers of driving.
Nice.
Okay. Pertaining to this, interesting that you've been able to go from 50 to 1,500, but I hope you're driving safe and you're not going about the road speeding. That thing whereby you just learned how to drive. When you just learn how to drive, there's this excitement that comes with it, that even when someone tells you, please come and drive me to Enugu, you're willing to.
You're willing.
Without considering the traffic or whatever issue you'd have on the road. You just want to drive, you just want to move the car. But it gets to a point where it can actually be tiring. So if Samuel, between last year and now, is now able to drive 1,500 kilometers, kudos to you, great. But please drive safe, take it easy. Okay, I understand the excitement that can come with this, but take it easy, drive safe, and be careful on the road, basically.
Okay, and Fikumi from Lagos is saying, I couldn't afford to live life as I wanted to. I couldn't help the needy around me because of financial constraints, but now I can afford those things well to the glory of God. Of course, we all give glory to God for the things that we are able to do and for the things we are able to afford. A lot of us, we actually, if we have the finances, if we have the financial capability, would actually love to, render help to a lot of people out there. However, we have also said that, you helping people, it does not necessarily have to be giving money. There are other ways you can assist people, if it is clothes or shoes or even food. It does not. You don't have
a simple act of kindness.
Of kindness.
For instance, you're on the road, you see an elderly person or someone living with disability trying to cross the road. You can help out. That would mean a lot to them, and you can't. That's not something money can buy. So it's not everything that you have to spend money on. That's just some things that it's just your heart, your act of kindness.
But some people feel like this person needs money, and no matter what you do, it still boils down to the money. So Fikumi is saying that he has been able to, is financially stable now, and he can, render help to people who genuinely need this help.
Okay, let's take this from Oyinda, Texas, and she says, "Be broke proudly."
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so I do not advise that this continues, because if you remain comfortable being broke, you just might stay like that. Please, yes, there are times whereby if you are financially down, it's okay. But what is not okay is if you remain in that position and you don't try to get out of that zone. I mean, money solves most of problems life comes with. So you do not want to stay broke forever. So yes, as much as you can be broke proudly, there's some people that see you being broke or financially down a big problem, as a big problem, and it makes them it makes them take decisions that at the end of the day you get to regret, or you start putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, and that can lead to disastrous decisions. So yes, be broke proudly while you are, and while you are proudly broke, try and work on not being broke, because it will get to a point where you would need money badly, and trust me, being broke might not be able to help you out. But yes, that's what Oyinda has to say. Let's check out what Femi has to say.
And Femi is saying, could decide to go to Dubai, spend 1 week and come home. Wow. I'm happy for Femi. Really, that means for Femi to have reached this stage, I believe he has put in a lot of effort, to improve himself over time. Because for you to get to this stage, it means that, number one, at least to a large extent, you're financially stable. You have the resources that you need to travel out and even come back. And so I'm really, really proud of Femi. And, for many of us that we hope to be in Femi's shoes, the Lord God...
For the sake of coronavirus, Femi, in case you didn't put that in consideration, please be careful how you travel in and out, especially this time. Trust me, the test is not so easy. Even them passing the swab into your nose and all of that is really not easy, and you have to pay for it. Going, you pay for the test. Coming back, you pay for the test. And you even have to be careful with the way you move in and out of the country with the new strain of a virus that is out there. So yes, as much as we know you have the power and ability to, travel every week if you want to, still try to stay safe and limit it if you can. I mean, there are just sometimes you can also plan your vacation within your country.
Limit it. You don't want me to enjoy my life.
Enjoy your life. But what is the use if you have to spend 2 weeks in isolation center?
Well, I'm very sure, Femi is saying, don't worry, I've spent all my life in Gombe State. Let me go out there to see the world. Don't worry, I'll take your advice, Wura.
But you don't want coronavirus taking that advantage from you. As you can do that, but just hold on. We're all hoping that this pandemic doesn't become a part of our life. We're hoping that it would disappear from forever.
Like forever.
Like go back to wherever it came from. And everybody can continue their normal lives. But in the in this time, just
the meantime,
stay safe, please. And we would have to move on to the last comment for today. And this one says, well, I have been able to read some personal development, financial and spiritual books this year than last year when I only read academic books. This is coming from Itunu.
Yeah.
That's good. A reader is a leader.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very interesting that you know that you're not limiting your knowledge just to academic books. Read wide. I mean, pick up books or pick up historical books. And this is not for the sake of, oh, I just want to read and pass my exams. This is for you to be knowledgeable about certain things. I mean, just sit down. It won't be a bad idea if you just sit down and you try to ponder about certain things. You're like, okay, let me just start my research on it and read about it. It can be very embarrassing when you're in the midst of people and then they start certain conversations and you don't have anything to say about it and you're just looking. And sometimes they can even ask for your opinion, but you don't have anything to say.
Contribute.
Well, it's not bad if you say, I don't know, and you try to learn, than for you to think you know and say rubbish at the end of the day. So please, and in order for you to avoid that time of you saying rubbish, just learn and, read wide. Read as much as you can. Fictional books, historical, but there are different kind of books that you can read. And if you're not the type that loves to, have physical books, we have ebooks.
Yeah, ebooks.
That you can also. We even have.
I even prefer those ones.
I enjoyed the fact that recently, I think a lot of people, when it has to do with the movie industry, they're beginning to bring in books that have been written into movies, so people are aware. For instance, there's this particular movie that's been actually on streaming platforms. And I think a lot of people have been talking about it, Bridgerton. And this movie has series of books that the author has written already. But now that it's in form of a movie, people are more aware and they really want to read the book and find out what is going on in that. And there's some terms when it has to do with English that you can pick up because it's a British movie. Exactly. So yes, things like this would encourage you to read more and read better. Exactly.
And also, I feel like when people hear reading, they just feel like, oh, you have to cover a whole, pile of books.
Start small if you're not that good.
Really,
reading.
Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. You don't have to cover the whole thing. Little by little, your interest and your attention span to want to even read better, read wider would develop. If you're not the type that if you're not used to reading, it might seem a little bit difficult. If you just want to cover a whole number of books, and at the end of the day, you might not actually achieve or gain or learn anything in that process. But if you're taking it bit by bit, you see that even if there are little things you're able to pick, as time goes on, you would improve over time. But yes, that brings us to the end of this conversation this morning.